Hello, everyone. Welcome to Azure Centric. And today, on a special episode of the Microsoft Ignite Book of News. With me, I have my partners in crime on the Ignite, Armando Lacerda and Jorge Maia, to comment all of the news and of what happened on Ignite. So, Ignite finished today, or is going to finish at midnight, something like that, right? Because it's the 24 hours during 3 days. So, what do you guys think about Ignite or the keynote? Let's start with the keynote.
All right. Uh, Keynote, the best part of Keynote is about the new vision of Microsoft about the metaverse using Teams. For me, IoT is my daily job. So when we talk about IoT, we have VR, we have AR. So the idea of an avatar, and we can interact with the fabrics and the retail plan, the retail sites is a good idea for me. I believe we will take a long time to come to production with that, but maybe it was the best point of keynote for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
On the keynote, I mean, as Ignite as an event overall, there was this push of trying to get the virtual interaction in between human beings more seamless. And like you said, Jordan, Avatar thing. I don't know if you attended any, but there were specific rooms. There were many, way more virtual rooms like we had compared to what we had in the previous Ignite, where you can use your 3D goggle thing and get into there and be your avatar there. So they are pushing the envelope of trying to get virtual uh, meetings, like Zoom meetings, team meetings, based on 3D, on this reality, trying to get the environment better. I found it interesting, but I feel like still lacking a little. They try to do the face expressions on the on the avatars, but they still don't have the camera reading your face expression. So it's all guesswork on AI in the back end.
It's always a serious avatar. It's not
Yeah.
like us happy guys.
Now, sometimes I'm talking like this, and the avatar is like this, and
Yeah.
I try that. But like any technology in its infancy, it's the first steps, and the the devices that are available for the general public, they really don't have that technology to read the impressions on the face. We may get there. I'm not sure. Like as we come out of the pandemic and virtual meetings are becoming not so much
Yeah.
the mainstream like they used to be. Of course, they will still be big, but people will start meeting in person again. I'm not sure if that push will see much development from now on.
Yeah, if you can imagine, Armando, when we have this in production or in in other phases of the product, not the preview or the early one, when we can interact this with a digital twin, for example, it will be incredible. If you can take your 3D model of a factory or of a site or a facility, for example, and you can walk on this and you can take some vision about the sensors, the insights, some alarms. It will be incredible.
That'll be kind of an invite, right? An impressive invite. Hey, let me take you to a virtual tour, real time on my platform.
It will be good.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I think in my opinion, the keynote was good, although it was short. Usually on Ignite we have an hour and a half. That we have a little bit more demos, and I got the feeling that was all about, or the majority of those 30 minutes or 30 something minutes was about Teams and how Teams is awesome and everything. It's made for Teams. That was the base of that I felt regarding the keynote. it was a cool thing just to see that they are not stopping developing that. I know that teams, especially on these 18 or 20 months that we are in still in COVID and all of this pandemic, is the main kind of collaboration tool, and it's awesome to see that Microsoft is still envisioning how to improve even more teams. I like the way that they are doing, but there was a lack of other things that was more interesting, because if you remember last time we were the three of us almost in the front row, in the Ignite 2019. We and since they launch, I don't know if you noticed that kind of trend, but since they launch the Hololens, now there are always something regarding this metaverse, like you like to call it, right? Always on the keynote of Ignite.
Yeah.
And I did before this, I just saw the other keynote of the last year, or the beginning of this year, and it's about the same thing, right? The part of the uh, uh, what is the name, Altero VR or something like that.
Yep, out of your
That was about almost about the same, right?
Like I said,
Immersing
it's an
people.
evolution. It's an evolution of the same idea. They're trying to put at the beginning of the year, like you said, they tried it. They made in the keynote. They invite us. They invite us to get to be there with the VR device. I happen to have one here, so I tried that at the beginning of the year. I tried again this year. I mean, this past night, this last one. But it's an interesting idea. It's getting better, and the development group that's behind this is community driven. Microsoft kind of invited them into the game, and they're using their platform. It's awesome, but again,
It is.
it is on its infancy. So I don't think that is like enterprise ready. I don't see a board meeting like in a. I have Star Wars behind me here. The troops, if you can remember, there is the Jedi Council there, and some of the when they meet, some of them are in other planets, and then they're virtually there with their avatar. We are far away from that. Anything close to that.
Yeah. And do you have the same opinion, George?
A little bit, a little bit. I guess we are increasing the idea of be in a virtual environment without any gadgets. So
Yeah.
that's the main idea when we talk about that. When we talk about extended reality on factories, for example, we started using an iPad and then a cell phone. And now the idea of when I'm arriving in a software, in a meeting, I can see all the site and all the
But there is a
information.
lot of. So I was working with a colleague of mine that they developed this kind of on its IoT devices that they put on HoloLens to just going on the factory or for training and for all of that, to just double check, for example, the valves that they have on wells and all of that. And he did the demo because he did develop, or he was the head of development of their company, and he did show me on HoloLens, and it's pretty cool because now you can interact during team meetings that I see right over on this, that you can interact with team meetings, that
Mhm.
now if you can be at the office, you can be wherever, in this case you are in Brazil, you can be there and say, you know what, this device or this specific sensor is connecting to this, and how they are kind of having a resilience of all the paths that they have for the oil and the gas and everything else. If the valve shuts here, this is what's going to happen down on the road. That sometimes it's difficult to see it and it's difficult to interact, right?
Mhm.
And I think we were mentioning that during the podcast that we record with you, if with the three of us, but in this case in Portuguese, that the talking about the coming back, right? We
Yep.
talk about that sometimes meetings, especially for some people, and especially for you to talk about a lot of IoT, is going to be really difficult if it's not in
Yes.
person. I
Yes.
think this will accelerate because now you will have access. They can give you access. You are a meeting guest, right? You can have access during that meeting to kind of help them or help the team, help everyone. And the part that I like that Teams is involving as well, and I'm not I'm just a Teams user, is the part that especially for us consultants, right? Because the three of us are consultant, is to be able to get that access to the different teams without logging into their teams and all of that. With my own tenant, we can go back and forth, and that is the marvelous of this. And you see a lot of improvements.
Yeah, my just adding a small thing to your talk, Marcos. When you talk about the Hololens, when you have to use this in a factory, for example, uh, it's good. Of course, it's good. It's amazing. You can interact with an augmented reality, but it's not quite simple to use that.
No.
You can imagine, oh, I want to see what's going on here. So, and you come and take a
Yeah.
look on that. That you should wear the Oculus, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm talking too much with some clients here to use augmented reality on the factories, and they respond with the same. It's not easy to use, George. It's not easy to use.
It's not
If
quite natural, right?
it's not, because, oh, it's just simple. You can use a phone. It's not true. You can't use a phone inside a factory in some near some conveys, for example. It's
Yeah,
not.
absolutely.
It's not true. So the idea behind is good, but when you go to the market, it's not good. And when I see something like this presented in a keynote, I see a light on the, oh, it will really create a new environment to use with that. It's not only inside the factory, but outside the plant also. So
Yeah.
it's
For
amazing.
now, it's kind of a niche, but I hope it expands.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing, right? Because the device it's really expands even for doing all of those type of things. And
Yeah.
when you want to scale that to different to like for example a factory that you probably need a hundreds or even close to a thousands. Uh, oh my god, yeah,
But the
it's
price, the costs to produce the model of a digital twin, for example, it's not good. Also,
It's not
the
that cheap.
idea
It's
is
not that
good.
cheap. It's not
Yeah,
that cheap.
but when you say, oh, digital twins is perfect, you can use, that's okay. The API of digital twins is very good. If you create a floor model of the factory, it's also, but let's create a 3D model and interact with the machines and the conveys and the sensors. Mm, I don't know if the cost is good. And when you talk about, oh, let's plan this metaverse, I believe the costs will not be good also. So we have to wait for the near future to listen more about that. But I believe we will see good things coming.
Hey,
yeah.
George, on your lane of IoT and data streaming, have you noticed they released a new skill feature for um, event hubs? They have now the premium level.
No.
Yeah, they released a new one, supposed to be like twice as scalable.
Good. It's
Kind of
good.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And-
good. It's good to use with time series insight, for example, that
yeah.
we can acquire some information from the IoT hub and from the event hubs also. So we can connect event hubs to
Yeah.
the big
Then
data
they announced
streaming
that
and
along
time.
with new features for Synapse, which is my lane, and the ability of doing streaming analytics straight into Synapse,
Good.
and twice as powerful with the new Event Hub price offering or skill set offering. I found that interesting. And to the point that Marcus mentioned earlier, when we got into Ignite previously, we had that, avalanche of new features, new products, and everything coming out at Ignite. Microsoft is not waiting for Ignite anymore. We have a lot of new
Yeah.
features and things that were released in between the last Ignite early this year and this one. And when you see here, what you see is just new features to products that are already there. New features to Cosmos DB, new features to Event Hub I just mentioned. And I'm talking about by field, right? The things I pay attention to. I'm sure
So
you can.
let's do that. Let's talk about the data news in this case.
Everyone,
What do you?
you'll be the last one.
That's okay. This is open mic. This is
We
what I like.
changed the order.
You
All
guys
right.
are
Okay.
talking about that. I'm okay with that. Let's go. Let's
Let's
go
go with the
on
flow. Let's
data
go with the
news.
flow.
What about
So,
what do you think that you are more into? And this was the purpose of having you guys over here. Is we cover almost like 70-80% of all the things regarding the Ignite. So between Azure, data, and IoT, and kind of development as well, that George can do it. That's the reason that I want to bring you guys over here to comment,
yeah.
because we know that we are MVPs. We got that that part of getting a little bit more of information or close information, but and we had, like you mentioned, the part that I like is, as you know, I have the weekly updates for Azure, and yeah, it didn't stop at all. Like 1 or 2 weeks before, we had like 20 something updates before Ignite, and usually it stops kind of when they have some big announcements. So I'm going past in this case to you, Armando, to start with what's your thoughts regarding the data platform and the data area.
Yeah. On the data side, what people will notice there is that Microsoft is really pushing into the private cloud, meaning the local data center, the on-premise compute capacity of any company. They usually call it the private cloud. They want to make that bridge and make the local data center that companies need to keep, for the companies that need to keep, to be an extension of Azure. So not in the data platform, but we have seen Arc coming out, almost a year ago, and we see Arc being matured. I just got my laptop the other day as my private region for my subscription, so I test that out. It's super cool. But on the data side, the data community is super passionate about the data services, right? Not just in the cloud, but also on premise. So there's been this noise in the community for a while. So where is SQL? The last one was SQL 2019, and we're 19, 20, 21. 3 years. We never been like 4 years without a major update since 2000, when it was SQL Server 2000 and SQL Server 2005. So during and I did finally announce that SQL Server 2022 is coming. And as the main attractive for SQL Server 2022 is this seamless bridge in between on-premise and the cloud. So you can run your database on-premise, for instance, and if needed, you can move, like in VMware, you do a vMotion or something like that. You can move that database to manage instance in the cloud and do whatever processing you need to do there in the cloud, and then move it back to on-premise if you like. So these features are usually siloed in the clouds up to this point. They start moving into on-premise, and things that would only work on premises are going to the cloud in the SQL Server platform. So that one is preview. No, SQL Server 22 has not been released yet. We hope it will be next year. Sometimes they delay. Remember 2019, they released in 2020. So yeah, so it's kind of interesting things coming out there on that side for SQL Server 2022. There were some news on Cosmos DB. They have upgraded the interface. They have added new features for developers to make it more friendly to developers, and some more integration. They already had that integration with Synapse, and they have more integration with other ends inside Azure. But again, it's not like a new product or a big change in a product. It's just a feature or two that comes out for that particular product. On the SQL Server managed instance, for instance, they have new hardware support for SQL Server. And before Ignite, they announced the trusted platform for SQL Server platform as a service in the cloud, where you can run enclaves for always encrypted in the cloud. The price is really salty. It's like 3 times more.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But if you need that thing, George, I don't know if you have read about the evaluations about the thing. It's so the environment. It's hardware based, right? It's based on that Intel GSX platform. The thing is so locked down that they gave the platform. They put some server together and gave to people to try to hack in. There was this group of guys in the lab that were able to hack into the enclave. But in order to do that, they have to put the entire computer on a very low temperature chamber to slow down the processor speed so they have time to hack into the memory.
Whoa. I saw something like this, but increasing the temperature in IoT devices here. We do some tests using some microprocessors to, when you increase the temperature, you can hack the firmware uploaded to the microcontroller. We saw something about this. We were looking to these tests on a client of us.
Yeah.
Armando, did you see something about the containers? I read something about a new model of containers for apps that you can use, and you can use also now a Kubernetes as a service, for example, as a serverless. So you can just connect this. I believe it is good for us also.
Yeah, Kata. So I have not driven very deep into that subject, but what I have seen about it is we know that web apps, we can deploy your code as code, right? Your source code or your DLLs, or you can deploy as a container. So they get that deployment option to web apps to the next level. So that would be Azure Container Apps.
Yeah, we are using this here. When you are developing some like in Python or other languages, is also, and you can do it on Linux app services. We are using this in some clients. But when you deploy a container to an app service, you can only use the HTTP and the HTTPS ports. In my case here, I have some services deployed as containers, but I need to use sockets on specific ports. So I still have to use a container instance to this deployment. Or
the container instance is hard to scale. That one is
I think I can't talk too much about that.
I have had my trials with that one on SQL Server. I have done
on
those things.
It's not a good one, because that I asked you about the container for apps, because I read something. I guess Thiago Custodio was talking about this on Igna on the LinkedIn, and I will take a look on that because we are in a pain here to deploy this some services, because in some cases we need to create a gateway to receive message from the devices. It's not a device that I can connect to the IoT hub, and it comes by a socket. So I have to connect this, I have to translate the information, and then I create an identity to this device and push this information to the IoT hub, and then I use the flow to the data.
There's a lot of
So
hard work.
yeah,
I think some of the blocks you are talking about, they are addressed on
Yeah.
Azure Container Apps, especially because it supports Dapper. You can deploy Dapper based
yeah,
application to it, and Dapper use other ports other than HTTP. So I
yeah.
think
I have to take a look on this
yeah.
because container instance is not the best option for me at all.
So I think it would be the best for containers. There are for applications for custom applications, which is your case. I think this is going to be the way to go instead of web apps and having web apps hosting containers,
Mhm.
especially because the scalability is controlled by Kata, which is the Kubernetes which is Kubernetes behind the scenes dynamically monitoring the traffic. That sounds like a really interesting announcement and something I want to try later. But again, there's 4 applications. If you get template, an Azure container template that's already there, like the SQL Server they offer, I don't think it's going to work in here because the traffic is not HTTP, it's SQL Server traffic.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I'll hack it up.
So now changing for you, George. What about you think about the IoT news or IoT updates that was
Yes,
launched
George.
on Ignite?
IoT news. Tell me.
We do not have new products and some highlights and oh, it's amazing. No, we have
Oh, really?
some small features like the device update. Device update is a must to the life cycle of a device. So I need to send firmware. I need to send some information to the edge. So I have to do this. And now you can do. It's not now in Ignite. A past months ago, we had a preview of that, and now you can use this to send firmware, and you do an OTA to the device. This is a good one because it takes a long journey to do this if you do not use the IoT hub to do that. So you can use the SDK on the device, and then you can send a new firmware to that, and it changes the firmware and send a pushback for me saying, "Oh, I'm okay. I'm live with the new version of the firmware one." Another good thing that we have now is an NXP producing a new microprocessor with Azure Sphere. So
Oh,
until
another
now,
one? Nice.
yeah, until now we only had the MediaTek one. So now we have an NXP one. So let's see what's going on. I believe it will be available in early 2022. I will take a look on this on the CES in Las Vegas on NXP people over
Oh,
there.
he's coming
So
to
I will
Vegas.
record a picture and I send some videos and pictures to the channel, and we can record another
Did you
podcast here.
implement the same trusted platform there?
I don't know.
Oh, they have not released the specs?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Because
Yeah.
one thing about the Sphere is the trusted platform, right? I hope they do.
Yeah. Yeah, the idea behind the sphere is the identity of the device. So Microsoft take cares about the identity of the microcontroller. So I can send new firmware information. I can stop and I can take care about the life cycle of the device. That's the amazing thing on the Azure Sphere. And you can, of course, create any kind of software and send the data to where you want. So if you want to use, for example, Azure Sphere to manage the identity of a device, to have a secure device, you can use this and send the data to AWS, for example. It's your decision.
So
Another thing
hopefully the
on
new
the
will be the same, right?
yeah, yeah. Another thing that we have now on Ignite is some modifications on the Azure Percept. So Azure Percept is a solution about to provide intelligence using IoT and edge computing and built as a solution. So you can buy a camera and it works as a solution in a marketplace, for example. So I can create some algorithms to understand the environment and this kind of stuff. And now we are looking to the product growing because uh, it comes in the last year, but it works, but it's on preview, and now we have more features. It will take some new modifications, and
Is it
now,
GA already?
sorry,
Is it GA already?
it is GA, but not all features.
Ah,
Not all features. For example, now we have artificial intelligence models in low power edge cameras and audio devices, for example. So it's in preview, and it's growing, but it's a good one to take a look because the big problem when you talk about let's take in artificial intelligence to the edge is which hardware I have to use, uh, where I will deploy the models. I have to use an IoT edge, and the IoT edge must have a GPU, and this is not a good option because it comes a mess, and you do not have it comes with a big challenge for you.
yeah.
So
I was
it's
looking
not
forward for the Percept release because, like you're saying, AI at the edge is kind of a geeky. It's just for the initiated, and with Percept, it will become way more popular. It's
yeah.
like buying, a TV and putting it there. But in this case, it's going to be the camera. I have seen some cool projects out there of people cataloging the birds in the backyard, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see this every day here on our clients. So for me, it's not too much geeky, but
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 you
it's
are, that's the thing.
we create some good stuff here. But I can tell you that, man, it's not easy as the people say on the marketing. Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it's easy. You buy a camera, you take a snapshot, and then you just apply a small filter. Oh, it's not like this. I see many people putting tons of dollars on the solutions, and it's it's not working. It's very very good. So Azure Percept is a good one. If you were listening here to the Azure Centric, take a look on that. I believe you will see good stuff. And another good thing on the Ignite was I was presenting a table topic talking about the Project 15. Project 15 is an open source of Microsoft to help the endangered species and the environment. So you can
I
use
saw that.
yeah, it was a good session because in sometimes we talk about technology and here we say, oh, Azure Percept is good and I use on my clients. I have containers running and this kind of stuff. But uh, when I arrive on the session and we start talking about that, I can see, oh,
And,
we
and you
really
know,
use intelligence on the edge to save animals. And
it
it's,
and it's not only that. The part that I like it about the session is was that the session that you guys introduced is it shows a different thing that we are not used because
yeah,
IoT in factories, it's we have electricity, we have internet, we
yeah,
have all of those type of things.
On a savannah,
on
you
the
do not have
savannah,
nothing
right?
about that.
It's like the IoT transcends to another level, right?
Yeah,
That it's like how what is the temperature? Because it's burning hot during the day, it's
yeah.
really cold during the night. There is no cellular reception,
No,
and
and it's not Marcos about the kind of hardware that we have
but it's the
on
solution
this
itself.
environment. Yeah,
It's the
we are talking
solution.
about TinyML running on microprocessors. We are talking about, as you told, we are in a savannah. It's hot during the day and it's raining. So, and we do not have money to run that. So that's the challenge. That's the challenge is to use uh, the cutting edge technology
Yeah.
to put inside a forest, for example, to take pictures of animals, to detect animals, to detect hunters, and this kind of stuff. All of this, and if you want to see how does these things works together, all these services, and here we're talking about IoT Hub, we talk about Time Series Insight, we talk about Cosmos DB, Azure Functions, digital twins, and you can go take a look on the project and just deploy to my subscription on Azure, and it will deploy, and you can see how does all those things works. So
To me, it
this
sounds
this is
like
the
you're
good.
talking about those Mars hovers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So now changing a little bit of subject and talking about the Azure news is I have to confess that a lot of the updates that they release before. Uh, so Azure Firewall
My
Premium
point exactly.
finally, right? Azure Firewall Premium that finally comes to as the next gen. In this case, it was released a week before, if I'm not mistaken. It was not introduced. It was not new on Ignite. They did kind of release that probably for Ignite, but or not, but it was released before. What I like about all of this is first there is a new data center region in China that they are growing on that area, and the Azure Resource Mover now is GA. So Azure Resource Mover will help you. For example, you George, that you have
yeah. I
like
know.
3,000 subscriptions to move your resource from one
Yeah,
subscription to
yeah.
another.
I sent you tons of messages. Remember? Hey,
Yeah.
Marco,
So
I'm
now,
lost in space.
I still have a resource group here when I was trying the beta. I mean, the preview of that thing. It creates a resource group for the movement, and that resource group is still hanging here like a ghost on my subscription. You cannot have open a ticket. Nobody removes that resource group from there.
but yeah, so those are the things. And then it's like more updates regarding the tools, like you mentioned, Azure Arc. It's big, not
That's
only
big.
on data, on the infrastructure as well. The way that you can manage it, you can extend, and it's. I have to say, it's. I have to take the hat off of Microsoft. Is be able to deploy Azure Arc on other um, uh, instances of cloud, for example, like on the other providers, even using all the compute power that you have, and it's a single pane of glass, and it makes everything. It's really smart because if you're looking at this, they tried that for several times. They used the Azure WAP, right? At the beginning. That was, oh my God, was really complicated to deploy that. And then became the Azure Stack, right?
But then
And now we
you
have
need
the Azure
hardware.
Arc,
Yeah.
right?
The Azure Stack, you need your hardware. The Azure Arc can be any hardware. That's the
Is
best.
that exactly? And that was the missing part because the Azure Stack, I think, was the first version. I call it that way, right? Because you need a specific hardware that you need to buy that's not is not cheap at all, and it comes with not only that, comes with other things like the support from Microsoft and all the lockdowns that you have on Azure.
Remember down there in Orlando, the both of us on that lab doing
Yeah,
Azure Stack
yeah, and
hands-on?
that's where, because I remember when I was that time, it was right after I left Microsoft, right? And now at Microsoft, I was at the inside. I was one of the guys for the Azure Stack, because I do believe that is the way to go. It's like to be able to truly going hybrid, right? Be
Yeah.
able to just move your workload from on-premise to the cloud and the cloud to on-premise, like with the single click. It's the truly hybrid solution that you have, because a lot of organizations start to develop out on the cloud, and for several reasons they need to bring the workload inside, but sometimes they have some kind of disaster recovery and they want to extend, for example. All of those type of scenarios, it's truly the hybrid one, and in Arc it does that. There's a tons of that regarding, but again, even
I,
if you go into the Azure networking updates and all of that, um, it's kind of, I felt a little bit disappointed, I have to say, because a lot of those updates were released before.
But I guess Microsoft Ignite and Microsoft Build is becoming events to show what's going on, how you can combine some resources, and Microsoft Ignite for the corporate and Microsoft Build for the developers. So because it doesn't make sense anymore to wait
But it
for a
used not
year.
to be like that. It used to be the way that they were announcing the vision, of
Yeah.
course, and the features that support that vision. So, for
Mhm.
example, they were. I remember waiting for the server launch, the sequel to launch, and all of that. They were choosing those kind of big
by the
events.
way, by the way, they announced sequel, but they did not announce the new Windows.
The what?
Windows.
No, they announced the no, yes, the server 2022 was announced before, but they just announced that now it's in preview in Azure, which is
In
okay
Azure. In Azure. So
in
the
Azure.
Azure Agile CI/CD pipeline is disrupting Microsoft Ignite.
Completely. And it's not easy, because it's like they launch almost like 2,000 features per year, right? Um, and only when I even text my colleague Andrew that does the podcast with me, and when for example Satya showed that we have 90 plus updates for this week, I say, oh my god, we will have like a 3 hours podcast to just talk about all of those. But again, when I see the book of news and when I start to see a lot of those sessions, looking for those, um, it was not well, it was kind of disappointing in my perspective to just see that a lot of those are happening. For example, the part of express route IPv6 support. Uh, there were a few things that they kind of put together just to make the numbers. See what I mean? And not too much of a kind of a point to do that. That was my opinion regarding the
And then
updates. But still, very nice updates regarding all of those type of things. And yeah, I like it so far. So far, you like it.
on the sessions about IoT, we had several sessions about IoT. What I can see is we had a path to use the whole IoT environment, and I believe it's good to the people who is looking to create a new solution using IoT on Azure, and I believe this is good to the event, not only new releases. For example, new releases about, oh, we are talking about the new product. Okay, where I use this in IoT environment, for example, you have several resources that can do the same thing, and it changes the role based on the project. For example, the stream analytics and the Azure function. You can use the stream analytics, for example, to save a data to a database from the streaming, and you can also use the Azure function to do the same thing. But if you want to process the streaming and take a time window or something like this, you should use the stream analytics. But if you don't, you can use the Azure function. And this was presented all the not about these two products, but this kind of paths to use the resources was discussed on the sessions about IoT. So, in my opinion, it was good to a corporate view
Yeah.
about Internet of Things using Azure on Microsoft. So
Yeah.
this
No,
this
it
was
was.
good.
I felt the same. I felt the same. Again, I felt the same about that. But that was a session about how to use their project, right?
Yeah.
It was like a kind of architectural way to use their projects to build solutions into all of that. But it was not like what we are saying over here about what is new, what we really excited. I remember a few
Years
ignites
ago,
ago,
it was, yeah, a few
a
years
few
ago, it was
ignites.
it was the feeling. How it's new? Come on.
Yeah,
Like
remember? I don't know if you guys
again,
remember. We
the
were excited. I remember. So I remember one thing. It was like in 2019, last time we were together, when they announced the Synapse. There is a guy over here that was almost like
Crying.
uh, having a child on
It's
excitement.
crying. No.
I remember that. Say, oh my god, it was. We even record this and
Give
this
me a hug.
recording, although he's in
Snaps.
Portuguese. Okay, he's in Portuguese, but he's recorded how fascinated he was with Synapse.
hey, I'm still working with the product 3 years later. I'm still
I'm
in
not
love.
saying I'm not saying that I was exactly the same regarding some products like
Yeah.
George is. We are passionate about technology.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything,
But
but
that's the point. You see, back then, Synapse was something that very few people knew about before it was released at Ignite. It was being, matured inside, the private previews and all of that. So what that was, I agree, that was a big announcement. But you don't see things coming out like that anymore.
yeah,
And I'm gonna say it again: the CI/CD pipeline for features in the cloud is destroying these events in terms of the thrill of the events. Oh, look what's coming up! But still, when they have these events, we can see the showcase, like George was saying. We can see the showcase, people using them, and how they benefit their projects, and all of that.
yep,
So
absolutely. Talking about that, and just to give you a little bit more, and now searching a little bit of topics is and there was. Let's talk about one of the things that we have in common: certifications. Okay, and one of the things that they announce is new
I,
fundamental certifications for our Dynamics 365.
yeah,
Okay, I don't know if you noticed that on the Book of News. I
Mm-mm.
found interesting that those exams that they were made available, they are dated from February 2021, and they are still new.
I think that one was the beta the beta cycle for the
Yeah,
exam.
it was the beta available, and now they are becoming available, the two ones, right?
Yeah, the
But
cycle to release those, you know, I don't know if you noticed. We talk about certification, we can touch into training, and Microsoft is retiring at the end of the year. Exchange Server Training 2019. Look, 2019. It's just 2 years they released that training, and they're retiring because there is no adoption. So
yeah,
like the Dynamics one, people wants to know Dynamics. Dynamics super, 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 super in demand. It's not my field, so I don't go much in there. But when you
mhm,
get the certification, the dynamic community is
it's
not much into
huge.
certification. They're much more into doing the thing. Being
Yeah,
certified is not a big thing in there yet. So it takes forever for the exam to come out of beta because they need a minimum amount of people taking the exam so they can grade the questions.
that's interesting. That's very interesting, that part. But that's the part that I found curious. They announced this in beta in February, and again, we know this because
Hey,
usually it's beta in like 2 or 3 months, right?
you want a good one? You want a good one?
Yes,
Have, have you taken the AZ 700 already?
the networking one.
Yep.
No,
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm
I passed it 2 weeks ago. It's a good one. So
I'm
that's pretty new. That one is really new.
that one is
You
new. I
you
know,
you
and
you
that's the part.
you will not believe what I did. I
I
lose the date.
From you, I believe everything.
I lo-
Whatever you say, I know.
man, I forgot the date to renew my 204. I will have
Oh,
to do it again.
we gotta cancel George.
And
He doesn't want to
that's a
listen to
nice
people
segue.
anymore. We gotta cancel George.
That's a nice segue because the renewal process, I have to say, it's really cool.
Yes, and
I
it's
almost
easy.
lost,
And it's easy.
and it's so
Okay,
easy.
more.
Yeah,
Okay, more.
and the thing is, I
Just head
almost
to the
lost
site
mine.
and done
I,
that.
I almost lost mine. The mine AZ 104. Almost. I did on the last day. Okay,
Oh
I did on
no.
the last day, and I felt
Procrastinator.
like, wow, you are able to do that online, right? Free, no costs, which is
Open book.
good.
Open book.
No, and the thing is, I noticed that if even if you don't pass, you have two tries on the same day, okay?
You didn't
And even
pass.
if you fail,
You did not pass the
you
first
can
try.
have another one on the next day.
George, he did not pass on the first try. He knows.
No, I read about it. I read about it.
No,
I
no,
did
I
pass on
don't.
the
You took
first day.
advantage of it. You took advantage of it. Say it.
No, I didn't.
You
I have no
fail.
problem saying, but I didn't.
You fail.
I
5
didn't
days
fail on the
to
first
pass on
time.
that.
No.
Yeah,
He failed.
yeah, fail. I know that.
No,
You
I
told
didn't. I
me.
can show you.
You told me. Come on.
It
Don't
was
lie
not
to us.
that one. That was the 300s that I did fail the first time. The
Yeah, but
104 I didn't.
it's a good one. You should try.
Yeah, it's a shoe. And now you cannot try, George. You have to do it again. So probably you can do the skills right now to get that free exam to do the 204.
I'll have to do the 204, man. I, I, I don't know why I did that because
Hey,
I'm
George,
on my mind.
take a
It
sip.
was
Take a
To
sip.
you,
October.
George.
Take a
So
sip.
October. No, in October I will do this. October. It was August.
Oh my God, I'm among procrastinators. I'm among procrastinators. I can't believe that.
I log in on the site and wh- where is the exam to renew? And there is one to do on here on now in November, and I look at it. Where is the 203? 203. Where is the 203? Oh, it was August.
Only you.
And now I have to do the exam again.
Yeah. But that was not the last announcement that they did on certifications. They are coming a new certification of about Windows Virtual Desktop or should we call it the Azure Virtual Desktop that they are doing for developers and IT in this case.
We are
And
trying
yeah,
to start using this on the office here, and it's a
it
good
is
thing.
good. Any
Yeah,
of you tried the Windows 365?
not
Me,
yet.
I have a subscription.
Yeah,
You have a subscription?
I do.
So what do you think?
It's great. It works great. Even Teams, the camera and the streaming for meetings, it works fine. I actually use it when I'm on the road with the iPad. I use it with the Windows 365.
iPad.
Yeah.
Look, wait,
I
wait,
listen.
wait. This is historical moment. Okay,
Is it
Are
Armando
working?
you?
Lacerda is
No, no,
using
no, 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 no,
a
no.
non-Windows
Are
device.
you using an iPad?
I'm using an iPad as a Windows device. Yes.
Okay, you are using an iPad and you are loving the experience, right?
Of my Windows 365, yes.
Yeah, because it works everything on that.
No, it's just because everything.
You can install everything you want. It's for productive guys.
I did not
iPad.
install it. I got this RDP to it.
So we are really, George. This announcement of Armando, it's bigger than Book of News. Okay, I have to say, and and this, I'm speechless. The man that criticizes, remember, no, devices needs to be Windows and all of that, and I have to say to you, Armando, to make you happy that my MacBook Pro it's on my backpack. I'm using a Windows PC because of all of the
Because
new things that's coming.
you don't know how to update that.
His
Because that
technology pair.
No, I have. It's still that it's still working, but right now I have Windows 11 on my PC, and it's great. Is
I
it
have
almost the
Windows
same
11 on the
experience?
parallels and it's working fine with some other virtual machines and working all the stuff and working
Yeah, it works
plenty
fine,
good.
my friend. You have to try
So,
it.
yeah, I do have Windows 3. I actually got it the week after release. And I signed up for
It's the
the
same thing as the Azure Virtual Desktop.
it's different.
It's different.
Totally different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So last topic. What else you guys think about this Ignite?
I guess you were missing us too much.
Yes.
You want to hug us? A big one?
Yes,
Group
I
hug,
feel. Do you
group
guys
hug.
think that next
No, come
year?
on. No, digital hug. No. Oh, come on. Fuck no. I will not do this. No, 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 no. We should have a limit, guys.
George, you are limitless. You know no boundaries. So we know, everybody knows that.
Yeah,
So do you think next year Ignite will be in person?
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it because a lot of people during the day while I was with between meetings I had the Ignite open and I saw a lot of the people complaining or not complaining talking about why they are describing themselves, right? And that was one of the things, and that they miss a lot of that event being on the presence. And now we're starting to see a lot of events coming as a physical ones, right?
Yeah, but
To
Microsoft
be
has a very strong inclusive policy. And while we have these COVID restrictions for international travelers, I don't see it happening in person.
but
At
they are
least,
opening up a lot.
Hybrid ones, please. Hybrid ones. Who can go, go. Who
Yeah,
cannot
I'm
stay at
all
home
for
and
it,
see on
but
the
I
web.
don't see it happening.
I'm seeing happening, to be very honest.
I believe it will
Um,
happen.
Let's see.
So yeah,
I really hope I'm proven wrong, but considering Microsoft positions on inclusiveness and be fair to everybody to have the same accessibility or access methods to things. Uh, I don't know. I don't think it will happen. At least in the first semester, I don't think it will happen.
yeah, true. What else? What else, guys? Do you guys think that you guys like it or didn't like it about that about the Ignite?
I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. It was a good event. It was a good event. Not that many news, but it was a good event.
Yeah, talk about news. Yeah, it's good. We
Yeah.
we we should drink like Armando to
My one
become
is empty. I need to refill.
oh
Okay, I understand that.
like on the parties. Huh?
Gotta tell
It's
you guys,
time.
I really
It's
need to
time
be.
to.
Can't wait.
It's
I
time
can't
to
wait for us
close
be-
Yeah,
this.
it's time
I
to hang
think
up.
I can't wait for us to be yelling at each other the walkways there, the
Yeah,
hallways.
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I
Because
think the next event for us is going to be CES.
Yeah.
you see, I was about to go there, but then a friend of mine who was about who told me would host me wants me to sleep with the dogs. So I decided to go to Hawaii instead.
Oh my God!
I'm
Yeah.
going to Vegas to test the vaccination because
Oh, is there going to be a
I'm
device?
going to all parties during a whole week. So on, on the next Monday after the show, I can say it worked or not.
Yeah.
I will try this because we really need to come back to
I
the
thought
normal.
I would not live to the day that would see George being a guinea pig. I really didn't see that coming.
Yeah. The world is changing, my friends. The world is changing. So
George,
I
have
want.
fun at CES. I think it's going to be a great event, and I can't wait to hear from you from your reports from there. Are you going to broadcast live there as you used to do?
Yeah, every day,
All right, I'll
Well,
try to pay
every day.
attention.
pay attention to George. Are you going to do that in English and in Portuguese?
I will try to do in English, but my big audience is in Brazil, so I don't know. We have some clients in US and in Europe, and we do some bulletins to them, but I don't know if I will
Okay.
do a broadcast in English, but I will try to start in 2022
So you
to
can use Microsoft embedded AI and put automatic translation on the stream using your PowerPoint and your Windows computer.
it will not work. My Portuguese is not good.
Okay, my friend. I
Time to
really,
hang
from
up.
bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for being here
Thanks for having
and
us. I appreciate it, man. The first time we're
all of the work that you guys been doing. We do miss to be together, and I
Yeah.
think this is the closest that we can do.
I, I,
Um,
I can't wait to get to have you and your daughter here for us to do some go karting here in Sonoma, man.
yeah,
Come down any day.
absolutely.
Just his daughter.
Yeah,
Look at the weight
absolutely.
of the guy
She needs a
on
coach.
a cart. Oh, come
She
on.
needs a coach.
When all the restrictions are go away, we will go there absolutely to go.
And the
So
Yeah.
once
Canada
again,
border is
thank you.
open. The Canada
If
border is
if
open.
you like all of these podcasts of Azure Centric, don't forget to subscribe and
Yeah.
don't forget to hit that smash that like button as well. So for now, I'm gonna thank you and see you on the next episode.
See
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.